Morning. I'd like to thank each of you for coming out this morning to take time from your busy days to recognize all of our veterans. My name is Kyle Cavanaugh. I serve at Duke as Vice President for Ministration, and it's my privilege and honor to be with you here today and to recognize the men and women in uniform and for those who've worn it. But first, please join me in showing our appreciation for the Joint Color Guard and for the John Brown Ensemble by giving them a round of applause. We'd like to start today's ceremony by inviting our Reverend Luke Powery, Dean of the Duke Chapel, who will offer our invocation. Luke.
Let us pray. God of all creation, we bask in the glory of the light of this new day. As we stand in front of Duke Chapel, the great towering church that rises above us, we are reminded of the men and women whose military service soared with sacrifice, honor, dedication, courage, purpose, and humility. We thank you for all military veterans who gave their lives that others may live, for their preparation and commitment to lead and serve, for their faithfulness to their mission, for their care for this country, and for their unwavering devotion to freedom for all people. May they feel honored not just today, but every day, and may they never be forgotten or ignored. Their contribution toward loss, meet them with comfort. If they have wounds and scars, bring healing. If they are isolated, surround them with a great cloud of human support. When they are down, pick them up and embrace them with your eternal, unconditional love, affirming that they are your beloved children. On this day, bless them far beyond all their expectations and pass on your peace that it may fill their hearts and minds with the beauty of the light of this day. Let there be light shining on them and through them that all may see the good they have done for us all. As they have worked for peace, let us all strive for peace, remembering blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. And as your children inspired by veterans, lead us to help somebody as we pass along, to cheer somebody with a word or song, to show somebody if they're traveling wrong, so that our living would not be in vain. Let all veterans know that their living was and is not in vain. Thank you for the living witness of those we honor today and for their selfless service which inspires us all to do the same. Lead us not to be concerned with being served, but to be compelled to serve. In the name of the one who serves us breath and life every day. Amen.
Thank you, Luke, for those inspiring words, and thank you as well to Vice President Kyle Kavanaugh for arranging this event. And I'm honored to be with you here this morning to join the entire Duke community in recognizing Veterans Day. We're grateful, deeply grateful for the service of many veterans among our students, our staff, faculty, and alumni. And we're very proud to call them members of our Duke community. As I've noted before, Duke University has a long history of active engagement with the armed forces. From the 65th General Hospital, which was based at Duke and saved the lives of tens of thousands of soldiers in World War II, to our physician assistant program, which began with 4 veteran students in 1964, to the thousands of undergraduate and graduate students who have left our campus to serve in every conflict dating back to World War I. We have been committed to supporting our service members since the earliest days of this institution. And Veterans Day is an important reminder of the service and the sacrifice of so many members of our community. We're proud to stand alongside our veterans and look forward to engaging with them throughout their time here on campus and throughout their lives. Thank you all for joining us in this morning's important recognition.
reflection and recognition. It may not be obvious to everyone, but we have over 1,400 faculty and staff walking the campus and the health system every day that serve in the armed forces. There are an additional 680 Duke students that have served or currently have military affiliation. You may know these people by their name, but what's more important is the character that they represent. They carry the banners for the values we hold dear and set the example for all of us to follow. We gather today to honor them for their selfless service and commitment to duty and country that has preserved the freedoms we enjoy today and throughout our history. And on a personal level, I thank you dearly. It's my pleasure to always introduce one of our speakers to this annual program. But before I invite our speaker up, I'd like to say a word or two about Randy Averitt. Randy joined Duke in 2019 after a 23-year career in the United States Army. Randy graduated from the United States Military Academy at West Point and went on to serve as both a field artilleryman and a network systems engineer, where he fought on the front lines of the modern battleground for cybersecurity. Randy retired as the Chief Cybersecurity and Quality Assurance Leader with the Defense Information Systems Agency. Today, Randy serves as the Chief Information Security Officer for Duke Health and as an adjunct associate professor in the Pratt School of Engineering, where he teaches cybersecurity. Please join me in welcoming Randy.
Thank you, Kyle. Appreciate the warm welcome. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us here for Duke's Veterans Day ceremony. I'm both privileged and humbled to have the opportunity to speak with you for this important event as we come together to honor and recognize American service members. This day of celebration and reflection originated from the signing of an armistice on Monday, November 11th, 1918 at 11 a.m. when all fighting ceased between the Allied nations and Germany, effectively ending World War I. A year later, President Woodrow Wilson proclaimed November 11th, 1919 as the first commemoration of Armistice Day. The federal holiday was approved by Congress in 1938, and in 1954, following World War II and the Korean War, Congress replaced armistice with veterans, amending the original act to commemorate November 11th as Veterans Day as we've come to know it. I'd like to recognize all those among us who have been a part of the great brotherhood and sisterhood we call the U.S. military. Whether you served on the beaches of Europe, the jungles of Asia, the deserts of the Middle East, whether you served here at home or overseas, in wartime or in peace, and whether your service branch was in the Army, the Navy, Air Force, Marines, or Coast Guard, you are part of an unbroken chain of patriots who have served this country with honor through the life of our nation. Your service and sacrifices have contributed greatly to keep our country safe and free. And I'd ask that you please raise your hands if you are a service member to be recognized. Our debt to these heroes can never be repaid, but clearly our gratitude and respect must last beyond their term of service, as does the legacy of their contribution to our nation. To our veterans, the pride of military service is a commonality shared by nearly all who have served. And despite the various rivalries between branches, particularly on the football field at this time of year, go Army, beat Navy, that bond of one veteran to another, even inter-service, comes with a shared respect for each other and their branch of service, as well as an understanding of what that service entailed. When we look at the sandbox of life and how our veterans can share their shovels, buckets, and other toys as they find that common bond with each other for the better good of all, that's to be celebrated. The late General Colin Powell is attributed with saying, giving back involves a certain amount of giving up. and I offer to you that less than 10% of Americans serve and can subsequently claim the title of veteran. And true to General Powell's sentiment, for many veterans, our nation was important enough to endure long separations from their families, miss the births of their children, freeze in sub-zero temperatures, bake in wild jungles and across deserts, potentially suffer grievous injury and even loss of life. And it's not just about the military service member, but also their families who have supported that service. Military spouses have had to endure career interruptions, frequent changes of address, and a disproportionate share of parental responsibilities. Children deal with the changes to their schools, a separation from friends, and hardest of all, the uncertainty of a parent's combat tour and the result of that. I've been blessed with my wife and our 3 boys who have done exactly that, and I'm truly appreciative of their support, as I'm sure many of you are of your families in your service. I'd like to read a passage from President Abraham Lincoln's second inaugural address. It was delivered on March 4th, 1865, as the Civil War was nearing its end. With malice toward none, with charity for all, with firmness and the right, as God gives us to see the right, let us strive on to finish the work we are in, to bind up the nation's wounds, to care for him who shall have borne the battle, and for his widow and his orphan, to do all which may achieve and cherish a just and a lasting peace among ourselves and with all nations. President Lincoln's words have stood the test of time and still serve today as a commitment to never forget our veterans. What has always made America great, what has always made us exceptional as a country, are truly the patriots who, generation after generation, dedicate themselves to building our nation to be a stronger and more free, sacrificing of themselves to allow others to build the American dream, and maintaining the security of our country. On this day and every day, we thank you and offer our appreciation. God bless our veterans, and God bless the United States of America.
Thank you, Randy. Let's take a moment to thank all of those who have worn the uniform to protect our freedom. Please join me in showing our appreciation for Randy and all the veterans here today, who none of this would be possible without. Now, I'd like to welcome to the podium one of our close neighbors and partners in caring for our veterans during their time of greatest need. Please welcome Nikki Fryer, the Interim Executive Director of the VA Durham Health System.
Good morning, everyone. Such a beautiful morning. And I want to welcome all of our veterans in attendance today. On this day, we gather to honor your service and your sacrifice. This day is about you. Veterans Day is about remembering and recognizing our nation's veterans, those men and women who fought our nation's wars and defended us during the periods of restless peace between wars. It is also a day where Americans can recommit to honoring veterans and renew our country's obligation to fulfill President Abraham Lincoln's charge to care for those who shall have borne the battle, and their families, caregivers, and survivors. Today, we remember those who have fought for freedom and guaranteed our liberty and our way of life. Our legacy is the very foundation of our nation's strength and security. The sacrifices of uniformed service members have allowed our nation to grow and flourish for more than 245 years since the Continental Congress adopted the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776. From Bunker Hill to Baghdad to Kabul, and in every war and conflict in between, our veterans' vigilance and determination have made us the beneficiaries of their blessings. Yet, we must remember the terrible cost of those blessings. for veterans of every generation who bore arms in defense of freedom. Many gave their last measure while enduring unimaginable hardships, and others were left with lifelong scars from what they had witnessed during their service. So today, we remember them all. In every generation, in every conflict, during the moments of greatest danger, our nation's veterans, ordinary Americans, acted extraordinarily to keep our country safe and free. Today is also about recommitting ourselves to those we at VA are privileged to serve. A day for all Americans to renew their respect, admiration, and obligation to veterans. President Biden says that our most sacred obligation is to prepare and equip the troops we send into harm's way and to care for them and their families when they return home. That's the promise that we, as a nation, make to anyone who signs up for military service. If you take care of us, we will take care of you. If you fight for us, we will fight for you. If you have our backs, we will have yours when you transition out of service. Our nation as a whole makes that promise. But we at VA are among those most responsible for keeping it. We are privileged to serve those who have served us and challenged to always serve them as well as they have served us. We are going to continue to focus on the 4 fundamental principles that define our vision for the future: advocacy, access, outcomes, and excellence. We're working to ensure that VA is always the nation's premier advocate for veterans, their families, caregivers, and survivors, and the provision of health care, benefits, and memorial services. In all we do, we are determined to fight for our veterans. We'll ensure veterans have timely access to VA resources, whether in their homes, through our caregivers program, and telehealth, at our VA facilities, and in their communities. Outcomes will drive everything we do, because veterans will always be the ultimate judge of our success. That means doing all we can to prevent veterans' suicides and ending veterans' homelessness, because one veteran who dies by suicide is one too many, and because there should never be homeless veterans, not here in the greatest country in the world. We'll continue to seek excellence in all that we do for veterans by leveraging the strength and diversity that defines the veteran population, our VA workforce, and this amazing country. Bottom line up front, no veteran, family member, caregiver, or survivor should have to fight to get the quality care, benefits, and services they've earned. They put their lives on the line for us when they step forward and answer the country's call. And today, like every day, we at the VA put them first in all our hospitals, outpatient clinics, veteran centers, telehealth sites, benefits offices, and national cemeteries, ensuring they receive the compassion and respect they deserve and have earned. It's the duty of all Americans to remember the sacrifices of all veterans and to make certain that our commitments to them and their families are always honored. There's no more noble mission, no more sacred obligation than that. Our nation's veterans deserve nothing less. So I thank you all for coming to our ceremony today. Thank you all for being veterans advocates. May God bless all our veterans, those currently serving in uniform, and may God continue to bless this great nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki, for the reminder of our sacred duty to care for all of those who've helped protect our freedoms. And thank you, in the VA, for all you do to support and nurture back to health all of those who have served. But we also know that there are those that have made the ultimate sacrifice. And we'll end today's ceremony by recognizing Duke veterans who have fallen in service to our country. I'd like to invite my colleagues, Antoine Lofton and Sterling Wilder, to move forward with the family of Augustin Gonzalez. When we move to the memorial wall besides Duke Chapel, you're going to see a new name etched in stone, that of Augustin Gonzalez, better known to his friends and families as Augie. Augie, a U.S. Army major, served 4 tours in Afghanistan, where he was awarded 2 Bronze Medal stars and meritorious service medals. Augie later came to Duke, where he earned his master's degree in public policy in 2019. Shortly afterward, while reporting for duty at Fort Carson, Colorado, he was involved in a tragic car accident in Kentucky that took his life and the life of his 2 young daughters. We're joined today by his wife, Melissa, and his eldest child, Nick, to recognize Augie and his legacy of leadership, which will forever be remembered on our memorial wall. We will hold a short reception for the friends and family of Augie after the wreath-laying ceremony. This time, I'd like to turn the podium over to Antoine Lofton, our Assistant Vice President for Duke Human Resources, to talk about the wreath-laying ceremony.
Thank you, Kyle. We now invite each of you to join us as we attend the wreath-laying ceremony to honor those alums who have served and are no longer with us. We invite James Chambers on bagpipe to join us to lead the procession. Please follow us.
Are you okay if I use your